In fact, you can receive the Bodhisattva vows many times. You only do monastic ordination once. I mean, there's the novice ordination and then the bhikshu, bhikshuni ordination, and that's what you have for life. In the next life, you take them again. But Bodhisattva vows, we can take them again and again. We can recommit ourselves. So don't avoid taking the Bodhisattva vows because you're afraid of mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I guarantee you the Buddha, in his previous lifetimes, he made mistakes, but he still became the Buddha. So don't worry. That was a good question too. Thank you.
Earlier you spoke upon meditation on compassion. Can you elaborate a little more on that? Because normally you use the meditation to focus on either your breathing or your moment right here. So can you elaborate on how to meditate on compassion?
Well, these meditations that we do to increase our concentration are very good. Because the mind wants to wander. And so if you can develop better concentration, then if you want to do other kinds of meditation, like meditation on compassion, then you have more ability to do that well. Right? So I certainly don't want to criticize that kind of meditation. It's foundational. In fact, some people do that kind of meditation their whole life. And so they're able to focus their minds, and then they start to contemplate things like emptiness, aspects of wisdom and compassion, and they're able to develop their minds very clearly because they have the concentration first. But if, some people just find it boring, sitting there focusing on their breath, and they want to do something a little more active, well then it's okay to go ahead and move into meditation on compassion. But there are all different kinds of ways to do that. As I said, you can pick a specific individual. If you know someone in your life who's very ill, or who's just having lots of problems, and you just don't know what to do to help them, then you can sit and meditate. And you can picture either, like I said, you can breathe out light, health and wellness and well-being to them, and then try to breathe in their suffering. You could picture Amitabha Buddha or the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, Kwanteambotat, sort of hovering above them, and light coming from that Buddha and Bodhisattva to heal them and help them. There are all different ways that you can do it. If you think of some particular technique that you like, as long as it's helping you to generate this compassion, then it's a good meditation. The important thing to understand, though, about this kind of meditation is that it's not magic. Sometimes miracles happen. Sometimes miracles do happen. I'm sure you've heard plenty of Buddhist stories about miraculous healing and miraculous events. But Buddhism, day-to-day Buddhism is not magic. The way that these meditations actually benefit other beings is that they help lead us to enlightenment. So if you're doing a meditation on compassion and you don't see the person that you're meditating on, suddenly miraculously being healed or all their problems go away, well, we shouldn't give up on that meditation, because the real point of that meditation isn't to change what's happening out here. It's to change what's happening in here. The point of meditation on compassion is to change my mind so that I will become a Buddha, and then I can be of benefit to other beings. So that's the point of the meditation on compassion. But the specific techniques, there are different specific techniques. I can't think of any more right now. I'm drawing a blank. But if you come across one that you just like, it feels good to do it, then I absolutely encourage all of you to do that meditation. Thank you.
Respected, honorable, venerable. I have questions is having a prayer service for the deceased Buddha's teaching. When Buddhism believe in karma and enlightenment, if you create bad karma, bad consequences will come to you. No one can save your life, save your sins, bless or punish you. That's my first question.
Let me answer that one first. This is something that I address sort of every time I go to a funeral. I don't know the Vietnamese Buddhist ritual very well, but my role at the funerals that I go to is, once the chanting is finished, is to give a little bit of Dharma, a short Dharma talk in English. And what I tell the families is that, first of all, those who've passed on are not in a different location. They're in a different state of being. And so distance isn't a factor. Our prayers actually do reach them. And what we're chanting, as you know, is the teachings of the Buddha and also the names of various Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And that does actually have an impact. So between lifetimes, there's that 49-day period, right? Our prayers are reaching those to whom they are focused upon. And it's reminding them of the Dharma. And it's reminding them of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And so it helps keep their minds focused on the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the Buddhist teachings. So that helps set up a better future rebirth for them. It makes that travel, so to speak, through this in-between state smoother. They're not lost, right? And then it helps them to achieve a better rebirth, specifically a rebirth in which they can come into contact with the Buddha's teachings again. The important thing, yes, we all have our karma, but the state of our mind at the moment of death and in between lives is very important. Because our karma isn't fixed and solid, it's not static. Just like everything else, it's constantly changing and evolving. So I create negative karma, but then later, through some Dharma practice, I purify some of that negative karma, right? And I create more merit in the future. So my karma is actually constantly changing. Going up, going down, right? Good karma, bad karma. So the state of my mind at the moment of death is very important. And what I focus on as I'm dying, as I'm transitioning in between lives, and as I'm moving into the next life is very important. So what we're doing, these prayers that we're doing for them, it's helping those who passed on shape their karma for their future rebirth.
I see.
Does that make sense?
It sure does.
Okay, good. Yeah, so it is very useful. It is very useful.
And also for the living people there, to learn about that too. Based on the death, the disease, that's for future rebirth. Thank you. What is the best way to get rid of attachment and ignorance?
Just a little question. Real quick answer to that. Well, of course, both attachment and aversion come from ignorance. So the way to get rid of attachment and aversion is to overcome ignorance. The way to overcome ignorance is to study the teachings on impermanence and emptiness. I talked about it a little bit during my talk. So it's to understand that things will change, whether I want them to or not. To understand that I am mortal, I am impermanent, and so it's useless to remain attached to this life. When it's time for me to die, it's time for me to die. Right? So I'm talking very generally here, but so the thing to do to overcome attachment and aversion is to overcome ignorance. To overcome ignorance we need to understand the teachings on impermanence and emptiness. So that's the direction to go to study. I mean, everything in the Buddha Dharma, everything in the Buddha's teaching will help us to overcome ignorance. But the primary thing we talk about is the cultivation of wisdom and also compassion. That's how to overcome attachment and aversion. There was a question, I think again in the back.
I had this question where I had for a very long time, but I finally remember it. But what is the point of following Buddhism if only you can practice it? And my second question is, isn't it selfish to help yourself and then others? Because I ask that because sometimes relatives tell me that, how can I help myself when I can't even help others yet?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the first question? I have a short memory.
What is the point of Buddhism if only a few can practice it?
Okay, what is the point of Buddhism if only a few can practice it? Well, it's not an either-or situation. It's not black and white. It isn't that you do 100% or 0. We all have different inclinations, different interests, and then different capacities. So even as a monk, you know, if you compare me to some other monks who spend their whole lives, they memorize the entire sutras, and they spend years and years in meditation in the mountains. Spending years and years in meditation in the mountains, that's just not my style. I like being engaged with people. So I think we shouldn't say, I won't practice Buddhism because I can't be perfect in my practice. Everything that we do related to learning and practicing the Dharma, it's like you're building